Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at this awesome little Oasis sound sculpture. Let's go ahead and dive right in and hear how it sounds. So Oasis is based in Los Angeles, California, and is run by my good friend Adrian Ensor. Adrian's been building for a number of years now, and it's been really exciting to see him progress to where he is today. So the scale on this guy is a G minor pentatonic. A lot of times it's referred to as MP9, but the central note is actually a D, so it's not the tonic resolution point of the scale. So this handpan is made out of stainless steel, but it still has a really nice, tight percussive sound to it. So you might notice that the diameter on this guy is a little bit smaller than most other handpans. This one is actually only 50 centimeters as opposed to 53, which is a little bit more standard. And it doesn't seem like a big difference, but I will say, after I've been playing this one for a little bit and I pick up another handpan, the other instrument just feels giant. So this handpan is selling for $2,750, and it includes a free soft bag from Namana Bags as well. We're selling this one through Planet Handpan, so if you're interested in it, just go ahead and send us a message and we'll get in touch with you. So what do I like about this handpan? And I'll actually start with what I was talking about with the size. Like I said, this is a 50 centimeter diameter, which does not sound a lot smaller than the 53, but it is a noticeable difference. It feels a little bit more compact in my lap, and the side profile as well, if you can see that, it's a little bit shallow, you know, and it's just kind of lightweight. So overall, I mean, it's got this feeling of compactness, lightness, and I really enjoy that. I really like that. It feels like a very good size. Some handpans out there I play that are maybe an inch or two bigger than this, and in the lap, it just feels a little bit overwhelming. With this, it's not the case. It feels like you're in control of the instrument. And then in addition, if you're traveling with it, you throw this thing in a soft case and it's gonna fit in the overhead compartment just fine. And I can tell you this for a fact because I ended up traveling with this back from Florida to Colorado, and I did not have a hard case for it. So I just ended up putting it in a soft case, and I knew it was gonna fit in the overhead no problem. And sure enough, I threw it up there. It was just fine. So that is always a plus. If you are gonna travel with this, you're gonna be able to do that without having to check it, and that can potentially save you some money. So I was actually just in Jacksonville, Florida for the Pan Marco Handpan show out there. It was a lot of fun. I was playing and teaching, and I saw Adrian out there. This was one of a few instruments that he had at the festival, and I gotta say, every single one he had really stood out to me. I don't say this lightly. Adrian is really one of the best dudes making handpans in the United States right now. Every time I've seen him, his stuff has been different, it has been new, it has been really just taken to the next level. And seeing a builder that's not plateauing, they're continuing to experiment, that's huge. So this handpan has sort of a feeling of lightness to it. And I want to distinguish, I don't mean thinness, right? Because sometimes I play handpans and they feel a little thin, right? They feel a little aluminum to me. And that's not the case with this. It just feels kind of light. You know, it's got almost a bounciness to it, a very, very kind of transparency to it in the tone and the way it feels under my hands when I strike it. And that's really cool. It just feels light. It feels like it flows. It feels like very natural, you know. A lot of handpans have a darker, earthier, heavier feel. This is the opposite. It's light, it's airy, it's bright. There's just so much about it that I love. I mean, first of all, the sound is so crystalline. It's so sustenance. He really has nailed a lot of the elements that I love from stainless steel pans, but it has the control that you would expect from a nitrated pan. And that is not easy to do. Getting that, all of that sound dialed in and contained on stainless, that's tricky. That's really tricky to do. So I think one of my favorite things about the latest instruments from Oasis is that they seem to be striking a really nice middle ground between everything that I like about stainless steel instruments and everything that I like about nitrated instruments. So this handpan definitely has the length, the warmth, the sustain that you expect from stainless steel, but at the same time, all of the percussive sounds that I expect in a nitrated instrument, they're still here, and they're really good at that. So I think that middle ground is perfect for people who haven't really decided what their playing style is yet. If you want to play faster, more percussive, this is going to work really well for that. But if you want to play slower, more meditative, more lyrical, this is also going to work well for that too. One thing that stands out to me on this handpan is definitely the balance. And what I mean by that is that all of the things that I like about it, it's not too much, right? So there's this really awesome activation that we're getting in the ding, in the central note, but it's not overwhelming. Check it out. Right? It's still got that punch, it's still got that tightness to it, but we're getting that really nice bloom. So as much as I love this handpan, there are a few things that I wish were different. First of all, I will admit the scale is not my favorite. And admittedly, that is a personal choice. There are some people who really like this scale. I'm just not one of them. MP9 for me, it just kind of seems like it doesn't really have a direction. It's just kind of wandering. It doesn't really have the same pull that you get from something like a Kurd. I think it's just a little bit less versatile. Like I said before, our center note is actually not our tonic resolution. So if we're moving down the scale, you notice that we want to resolve to note number 1. Not the ding. So what that creates is that feeling of home, that feeling of resolve isn't in our center note. And this is something that I think might throw some beginner players off a little bit, because when you play handpan, the center note is such an important part of the music making experience. This is kind of where we constantly return to. This is where we keep our groove much of the time. And when that's any note other than the tonic, it kind of feels not home. So that's definitely not a deal breaker for me. It just means you kind of have to adjust your playing around having your note number 1 as your tonic resolution and not your ding. So one of the things on this handpan that bums me out a little bit is that the port was actually left untuned. Right, I think this is a little bit sharp of a B, so it's not really sitting at any logical place for the scale on the top, which again, it's not a deal breaker, it's not the end of the world, but it's gonna kind of stick out and clash with the top of the pan, which means if we want to do some vertical playing, it's gonna sound a little funky, but it doesn't mean that we can't use it, especially if we're just playing on the bottom side. Right, it's just a little bit more of a percussive instrument that way. It doesn't really have a melodic role. So who would this handpan be a good fit for? So if you ask me, I think this handpan would be perfect for someone who is looking for their first or their second handpan. Anything you get from Oasis Sound Sculpture is going to be awesome, and this handpan is no exception. So if you like the pentatonic scale, you're probably really gonna like this. The minor pentatonic scale is very melody focused, so if you're a singer or like singing with your handpans, you're probably really gonna connect with this instrument. Lastly, I think this handpan would be perfect for somebody who plays in multiple playing styles. Like I said before, I think Oasis has really nailed that middle ground between the faster, more percussive style and the more lyrical, more meditative style. This handpan, I think, is something that could work really well in either of these scenarios. So if you play in multiple styles and multiple different settings, This is a handpan that is going to be really a Swiss Army knife for no matter what you're doing. So this handpan definitely has the Mark Ambrosio stamp of approval. Like I said before, I definitely don't want to see this thing leave my shelf. And whenever a handpan comes in here that I feel that way about, that's usually a really good sign. I really can't praise Adrian and Oasis enough. He is just a really kind-hearted, really awesome dude. And the stuff he's been building has been so nice. So whether it's this handpan or another one from Oasis, you should definitely check them out. I'm a huge fan of their instruments. And like I said, every time I play something from them, it's new and it's better and it's different. So I'm sure by the time this video comes out, he's probably already working on something even better. So we're actually selling this handpan right here through Planet Handpan. So if this instrument sounds like it's the right one for you, send us a message and we'll get in touch. Alright guys, that's going to do it for another handpan review video. And as always, if you want to learn more about the handpan, just head to planethandpan.com. We've got all the resources there to get you started in the right direction. And I will see all of you in the next video. Are you seeing the color on this? Look at this thing. That's so pretty. I have a monitor over there, that's why I keep on looking up, but man, beautiful handpan.